The following is a paid advertisement. The views expressed are the sole responsibility of the advertiser.
Put the power back in your hands. This is Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark.
Welcome to the show. It's great to see you again. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. What a show we have in store for you today. A lot to learn today. You will not want to miss a second. Let me bring in my dear friend, the beautiful Makaila Nichols. Hello, Makaila. Are you ready today?
I am.
Here's what we're going to talk about. So later in the show, we're going to deal with student loans. It's been in the news all the time. The president says he's going to wipe some out, then he's not. And then we have these moratoriums as well. What I'm seeing is that this is the best time ever to deal with your student loans. But first, our good friend from IQ Power Solar, Stephen Bator, the COO, will be here because there are some big-time legal changes that are literally sitting on the governor's desk right now that may make you want to go solar. Now, I went solar. Thank goodness I did because I'm grandfathered in. Big legal stuff ahead, though, when it comes to solar. I still recommend it. The time is absolutely right now. Makaila.
Justin.
Are you going to ask some questions today?
I better.
My stock game today, it's little smiley faces. Are you okay with that?
Those are actually pineapples, I believe.
Pineapples? Oh, it's pineapples, I guess. It's a little embarrassing, isn't it?
No, it's cool.
But you know a lot about fruits and vegetables. Remember, with you do a lot of posting, I think, for a vegetable company.
Yes.
Isn't that right?
It's fun.
That's how you knew it was a pineapple.
I did. I know my fruits.
Anyway, all right, here's what we're going to do. Quick break, great show in store. Don't go anywhere as Behind the Law continues. Having debt can leave you feeling helpless. I'm attorney Justin Clark. Filing for bankruptcy may give you the power to lower or even eliminate the payments that have you living paycheck to paycheck. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your life. Does student loan debt have you spinning out of control? You are not helpless. At Attorneys Justin Clark and Associates, our goal is to lower or even eliminate your monthly payments. Call me today or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life. Welcome back. Happy weekend again. So I went solar at my house, I guess it's about 2 years ago now, and thank goodness I did. You have no idea how low my electric bill has gotten, but I also saved money. When I filed my taxes at the end of the year, I saved $10,000 on my taxes. So I'm very thankful I went solar, and I did so through IQ Power Solar. Happy to have its COO here, Stephen Bator, because there are some legal changes coming down the pipeline right now when it comes to solar, not just in Florida, in other states as well. And these changes, I think, are very, very bad for you. I want you to consider going solar, and I want you to consider doing it now based on what's about to happen. I don't know who else to ask but Stephen Bator for this very important question. So changes are coming. My understanding is there is a bill on Governor DeSantis' desk right now in regards to how solar is dealt with in Florida. Is that right?
Yeah, it's all regarding net metering. Senate Bill 1024 and House Bill 741 have already passed, and they're sitting on the governor's desk right now. To be clear, net metering is essentially what pays homeowners for their excess energy. On a daily basis, if you own a residential solar system, your system's producing more than what you need in that time of demand. So when you give that extra energy to the grid, they owe it back to you. So right now they're trying to threaten that, which eliminates one of the primary incentives to go solar.
So basically you're not getting as much credit for the solar that your system is, or for the energy your solar system is producing as you send it back to the grid. Are you getting any credit for that at all under this new plan or what?
Well, they're dropping it down to 75% and then 60%, but as if that's not bad enough, one of the real issues is that they're allowing the utility companies, which are really IOUs or investor-owned utilities, right? They're not, people assume they're public companies that they can trust, but they're not. But a second hit is that they're allowing you to charge extra fees. For instance, just last year in Alabama, they allowed the Alabama utilities to charge an extra $5.61 per 1 kW. So the average homeowner with a 10 kW now gets an extra $56 on their bill, which diminishes the value of going solar by probably 30-35%.
Let's get this straight too, and basic a little bit, because I think some people are still confused by solar. Some people at home
confused.
You're still confused.
Mm-hmm.
So let me try to explain it to Makaila how it works, because a lot of people think that you get solar on your roof, and then that energy that you produce actually turns the lights on in your house. And Steve, that's really not how it works unless you have one of these batteries, and we can talk about that in a minute. But generally speaking, someone who has solar they don't necessarily produce the energy for their own house with those solar panels, correct?
Well, you still have the full reliability of the grid, right? So the way that solar works, it's 4 simple steps. The solar array produces direct current. Your microinverters or your inverter system turns it to alternating current. It feeds the house energy, the demand that the house is using right then and there, and then the excess goes to the grid. But guys, what makes Florida so appealing for solar companies and for solar residents is that we have a high amount of hours per day of productive, production for solar photovoltaics. So but in that 5 hours a day, 5.5 hours a day, you're producing all the energy you need for all 24 hours, right? So in 5.5 hours, you're producing all that you're using plus excess. And then at nighttime, when you're using energy from the grid, they're basically giving you energy that they owe you. So without the net metering policy we currently have, if they alter that, then you're gonna, right now we're at work, right? So at home, we're not using all our energy. So when we go home at night, our solar panels are worthless.
Although people leave the lights on in my house a lot, I think, but we try to avoid that for sure. Now, a lot of people view Orlando sort of similar to Las Vegas. I think there are some similarities between both of those cities. I think a lot of people see Nevada somewhat similar to Florida. They do. And it's ironic that a state so similar to ours actually tried this plan in 2016. How did it work for Nevada?
In 2016, when Nevada changed their net metering laws, it diminished 32% of their market almost overnight. And it was so bad, they actually reversed it in 2017. So it was horrible.
So why do they want to do this? So let me tell you why I think they want to do this. I believe this is these major utility companies and their billions of dollars in lobbying power going to Tallahassee because they are losing money for people going solar. That's what I think is happening. What do you think is happening?
It's important to recognize that at the end of the day, the utility companies wrote these bills, right? So
literally wrote the bills.
Yeah, or very much hired the person that typed it. Yeah. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. And I don't think people realize that solar alone injects $18.3 billion in economic value in this state, right?
Yeah.
Now, out of that, literally $3.2 billion into the household. Now, in perspective, that's an extra $2,000 a month into 133,000 households.
Right.
That's a lot of money. That's a mortgage.
Yep.
And that's not a drop in the bucket.
It's not. And like with my house, I think we were paying somewhere around $500 a month for the electricity bill, which with gas prices as they are, the cost of apples as they are now, we're talking about real money for families when you can go solar and maybe get down to $100 or $50. Especially right now, I can't think of a more important time to go solar when things are getting so tight. And unfortunately, things seem to be getting worse in households with the price of fuel. The price of anything has gone up. What a better time than now to go solar and save that money for your family. And they're trying to take that away.
Yeah, Justin, I'm putting solar on my mother's house. I'm putting solar on every rental I have. It's a different tax credit, but I'm getting that meter on there. It's a game changer.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, when solar started, they had to find every little loophole that these lobbyists could make it not make sense to go solar. They had to find the loophole where, okay, we can drop you from our insurance. So they protected it to where if you get a residential system, they can't drop you. They had to make sure your property value doesn't go up. So there's a law where they can't increase your property taxes when your home value goes up. They had to make sure that there was a Florida statute where the HOA couldn't reject it. And now that they're considering letting one of the biggest culprits through the loophole. Yeah. That's mind-blowing.
And consider this sort of my public service to you, because I assure you I went solar and I did it through IQ. So much so that one of their TV commercials has my house in it.
Yeah, we have videos over.
Literally, one of the TV commercials for IQ has my house in it. I promise you I did, and I assure you I did not regret that decision. We enjoy that decision every day. It's not just the tax credit. It's not just the fact that I'm saving money every month. I'm also feel like I'm doing something good for the environment. And that's what this bill is a little bit weird to me, because it inevitably is going to make more people not go solar. And I thought that this whole solar thing is helping the environment.
The reality of it is the utility companies aren't doing this to prevent people from going solar. They're doing it to prevent people from owning their own solar. I'll tell you that it's not ironic that right after it no longer makes sense to purchase it, the utility company is already putting out ads and begging you to lease their panels. Yeah. So there's solar's going on your roof, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going on your roof. They're just trying to prevent you from owning it. They want to, you basically have hundreds of thousands of people that are paying $300 a month. They don't want to stop that. Now, they might change the reason in which you pay that in the way that they itemize it on a bill, but instead of you owning your your solar, they want you to pay them for the solar they put on your roof. And that's a big difference, because you already know, I mean, you had a couple of clients where if they try to sell their house in a lease or something like that, it's a disaster.
Yeah, of course.
And if you sell your house with that solar lease, you got to pay it off at closing, which is more than we charge for solar right now.
So when you lease it from these utility companies, which it's almost like a car, it's different than a car, but same. You don't really own the panels at that point, right? You're literally just leasing them, and you're locked in.
And the problem is that when you sell the house, they have to get paid unless the homeowner adopts the lease, in which they don't. People want to own their solar, right? So
here's what's going on. The utility companies are getting in the solar business, and they're trying to get you out.
they have been. They've just been very, very divisive in the way that they educate the consumer.
And anyway, Steve's not saying this, I'm saying this. I believe that the utility companies are trying to take over this industry, which, think about that. Think about how they're going to handle you as a customer. Think about how you get handled as a customer with your utility companies right now. And then they raise the rates at the end of the year. What are you going to do, fight them on it? It's the same thing with them taking over solar. We have this, and it's not even a government entity. They're private companies, but you can't fight back with these guys. You need to keep the solar companies like IQ Power Solar in business so they can compete with each other, and that's the only way you're going to get the best service and the best rates that you can possibly get. This bill, it concerns me greatly, and not just because it's going to affect your business. It concerns me because it's going to affect the people at home.
It's going to affect the entire local economy. I mean, you got to think about how many people get paid directly and indirectly. Electricians, engineers, permit staff, inspectors. And guys, they picked a very specific time to strike, because one of the things that different states like California have done to protect the homeowner is buy solar without net metering. Okay, then you can just buy a charge wall or power wall. But now with the crisis we just went through and the cost of everything battery related ever going up, now it won't make financial sense to just say, okay, do whatever you want with net metering, we'll buy our own power wall. Yeah. So now they're getting us in a vulnerable place where they're going to change the net metering law. It's way too expensive to buy a power wall right now, and then you have to wait 8 to 10 months to get it. It's a disaster. Right. So it's very important. I mean, I really hope the governor does not sign this bill, but essentially it's pretty much already assumed that he has, right? And you got to go solar, man, because if it's not installed, if your meter isn't installed, then by the end of the year, you're already threatened.
Okay, so even if he signs the bill tomorrow, can I call you and you can get there before the end of the year, and I'll be grandfathered in?
We have to get there. We have to get through engineering, permitting, install, and then the meter has to get in there. So I already have, conversations with you on the books to talk about, how to go after the utility company if they try to delay and try to take 6 weeks to install the meter.
Right.
There's going to be so much of a hassle with this, and we're basically going to be fighting the utilities every day.
Yeah. What is the best way to reach out? Because I'd like to get you called today, because there is a process. It takes some time to get the panels actually on the roof. Now is the time to start this. What is the best way for us to reach out, and how does that process work from that initial phone call?
Yeah, the best way is to call 407-585-1018. We have a phone room that's there to take your call. It's all inbound, right? So if we miss your call, leave a message, we'll call you right back, and then we set up a meeting with you for one of our solar experts to come talk to you. And then I'm actually going to have an article that recaps everything we talked about today on our website at iqpowersolar.com. So probably by tonight or tomorrow, and it'll be on there, so you can kind of review it, and we'll have some prompts there and get a hold of us.
So I think the point of the story is it's not too late, but it's likely that if you wait around too much longer, it may be too late for you to be grandfathered in to where you can save a significant amount of money every month. I got to tell you, if I'm a homeowner, I am calling Stephen Bator today, IQ Power Solar, because, Steve, again, the money I saved on taxes, the money I save every month on my utility bill, it has really, really added up, and thank you for that. It's amazing. And you guys go in, or at least at my house, I'm assuming you do this for all your customers, you went in and did a full sort of energy audit. You didn't just say, I'm going to put these panels on your roof. You said, we're trying to make your house more efficient. Like, you were looking in my attic, you were looking everywhere. And I think that's an important part of what you do that a lot of places don't do.
Yeah, we have a key philosophy at IQ Power: reduce before you produce. Because if you have a $500 bill, it doesn't make sense to come and put $130,000 worth of solar on the roof. That bill comes from somewhere. So if we're wasting, $50 a month because we're using too much AC with poor insulation, or the pool pump is, the strongest single-speed pool pump that, when we made your house more efficient, we actually reduced your carbon footprint. If we just throw panels on your roof. We don't make your house more efficient. We just change the way you finance it. So that's just not renewable energy. We don't sell products, guys, right? We're in the outcome business. So.
And the last thing I would say is, there are a few good solar companies out there. I think none as good as IQ Power Solar. Be careful, do your research, but I can attest, because IQ Power Solar is my solar company. They installed solar at my house. I can attest that they are fantastic. And also, a lot of these companies are just sales organizations. They literally come by just to sell you solar, and you'll never talk to them again. The trucks that show up at your house are not going to say that company's name. It's literally a sales organization. IQ Power Solar does the whole shebang.
Yeah, we have our own in-house staff, permitting, engineering, everything. So.
One last time, I want to reach out today to IQ Power Solar. I want to be grandfathered in to where my family can save money every month. Best way to reach out?
407-585-1018.
Stephen Bator, excellent job as always, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Makaila, did you learn anything at least?
I did. That was a lot.
I wouldn't shut up. Is that the problem?
Always. But anyway, no, I learned that I need
solar
right. on my house.
Right away. All right, excellent job, guys. Here's what we're going to do. Quick break. When we return, student loans. A lot of you have them. You don't know what to do. You've been trained that there is nothing you can do about your student loans. I disagree. More about that just ahead as Behind the Law continues. I'm here with Stephen Bator, the COO of IQ Power Solar. Steve, as you know, I went solar at my house with IQ Power Solar. Thank goodness that I did. There are a lot of door-knocking companies out there. There are a lot of these sales organizations that pretend to do solar. They are not IQ Power Solar. What separates you?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an exciting industry and a lot of people are getting into it, and that's a good thing, right? For the most part, no one says, oh, I want to just put as many panels on the roof. That's not a good investment. We understand home energy, we understand how to get the best return on your investment, and we understand that at the end of the day, you're not buying a solar system. No one says, I can't wait to get up and look at my system. You're buying an outcome, so that's what we focus on. We focus on an outcome, a promise, someone hold accountable for that promise, and a 40-year commitment to it. So that's what we do.
Really what made us switch to solar was our electric bill was insane. It was $600–700 a month. What made me choose IQ Power was I had a bunch of people obviously come knock on my door, and I just went through and did some research on it. I liked that they were all under one contract. It wasn't multiple contractors. Everything was handled through the same individual, and they knocked everything out in a timely manner and really worked it out for us. They had the best warranties and guarantees in the business, and my wife really liked that. They were fantastic to work with.
Thank you for what you did for me and my family, Steve. IQ Power Solar. Do yourself a favor. Give IQ Power Solar a call today. You will not regret that decision.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Student loans, they say there's nothing you can do about them. I respectfully disagree. Now, our firm has been dealing with student loans for years now. Not a lot of places do, and they don't because they have been difficult to deal with. You really have to know what you're doing, but if you leave with anything today at all, I want you to know that there are things that you can do with your student loans. Student loans are outrageous. I mean, there are so many people out there with student loans, and student loans really are ruining lives at times. They really, really are. Now, I know you were blessed where you had scholarships and things, so you had no student loans from your time at UCF, but let me tell you, I see families destroyed by student loans. So student loans are a little bit different. So there's federal and private, okay? So the federal is what it sounds like. They're federally government-backed loans, so to speak, through the Department of Education. Federal loans, think of them like IRS debt almost. So they don't have to sue you, they don't have to do anything. They have to send you a letter and they start garnishing your wages. And this becomes a real challenge for families, as you can imagine, because let's be honest, dealing with your student loan debt is much like the foreclosure crisis back in 2008, 2009, 2010. If you did a loan modification back then, dealing with the student loan servicers is exactly like that. You want to pull your hair out. They make you crazy. And really, they just beat you up to the point you're like, you know what, there's nothing I can do. Just garnish my wages. They will take your tax return. They do all of this. It's crazy what these student loan servicers have been allowed to do. Here's what I will tell you today is in my years of dealing with people's student loan problems, I have never seen a time where it is easier and a better time to actually fight and battle your student loan debt. a lot of different options that you have, okay? They're going to try to make it seem easy to do it yourself. I assure you it's not, because there are so many things that you have to know. Number one, there's talk of wiping away $10,000 or $50,000 of everyone's student loan. I think it's a dumb idea. Look, I think that a lot of people got taken advantage of with the student loans, don't get me wrong, but I think just going in and wiping it out, probably not a great idea. And then a lot of people will say, well, you borrowed the loans, you need to pay them back. And I understand that theory, I really do. But let me explain what really is going on behind the scenes, behind the law. These people that borrowed student loans, generally speaking, that come into my office, are not the people like Makaila that went to UCF or FSU. These are people that when the market absolutely crashed, people couldn't get jobs in 2008, 2009, 2010. They would go to these job boards and apply for jobs. And what happened is all these for-profit schools, terrible schools, I hate even calling them schools, they were businesses. They would go to these job boards and put ads out there, come back to school here. You're not getting a job anyway because there are no jobs. We'll give you loans. We'll give you more loans that pay more than the tuition. You can live on this money and you'll make $100,000 when you get out. Unfortunately, when these good people who were just trying to take care of their families got out of school, they were making $0 because there were still no jobs. Their diplomas were worth nothing because these schools were horrible and these schools got shut down. The vast majority of the people dealing with this student loan debt are those people. Good people who are looking for jobs and got sucked in by salespeople at these horrible schools, and they deserved to be helped. They deserve to get help. They are not bad people. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, they're not deadbeats not trying to pay. So what do you do? A lot of things. There are a lot of ways sometimes we can get your student loans completely and totally wiped out. Borrower defense to repayment is one of these options, where you go to a school and they lied to you. Their sales team lied to you about what was going to happen. You can apply for a borrower defense to repayment program. If you have any sort of disability, sometimes we can apply for a disability discharge. There's also been some changes to what's called the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, whereas if you make 120 payments on an income-based repayment program, your loans will be completely and totally discharged after that, 10 years. Some places it's even 5 years where you can have your loans completely and totally discharged. But here's the problem. Before, you had to switch to the direct loan program, and then they would start counting the payments. Now they switched it to where we can go back and get payments made in the past, and sometimes we're getting credit for payments that were zero, because if you're in an income-based repayment program, your payment can be zero, but you're still considered current on the payment. Private loans, okay? Private loans, a whole other thing. Private loans do have to sue you. Think of private loans sort of like an American Express card, except harder to discharge in bankruptcy, but private loans, there are options with those as well. And lastly, you're always going to hear that bankruptcy can't do anything for your student loan. Disagree. We have a big bankruptcy department at my firm, and there are several things bankruptcy can do for your student loans. Number one, we have a mediation program here in this jurisdiction. If you file a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, where you can go to mediation and try to fight with the student loan companies. Or if you can show the court that you are not able to pay these loans, and it's difficult, don't get me wrong, it's difficult to show the court that you can't pay the loans. Sometimes you can get them discharged completely and totally by filing bankruptcy as well. It's weird because you go to the website, Department of Education or Navient or whatever, and by the way, the Department of Education's firing all of these servicers. They're changing servicers left and right. They're firing them because they've done such a horrible job and they treated you like crap over the last several years. And you're going to see new servicers popping up. But when you go to these websites, they make it seem like, click here, we're here to help you, call us at this number, we're here to help. They're not. They're there to steal your money. They're there to take your money, Makaila. So, be thankful that you worked hard and got the scholarships that you did get. But I want to explain to you and the people at home that the student loans that I see are not people who are deadbeats who are just trying to get out of paying. And I also do thoroughly believe, though, that we shouldn't just go in and wipe out $50,000 for everyone. Here's what the plan should be. And I've laid this out on our radio show 100 times. Ask little Sean, who's back here. Here's what the government needs to do. They're not asking me, but I'm telling them. Here's what you need to do. Stop with this little game, this little racket, because the people that come in owing $100,000 in student loans, borrowed like 40. But you have jacked up their interest rates. You've charged them all these unbelievably stupid fees. If you would just reset everybody to what they borrowed, put them on an interest rate of 1% or 2% or something manageable, I guarantee you people will start paying you back. They will. But when you take advantage of people to the tune of $4 trillion and they borrowed $50,000, now they owe $100,000, I don't blame them for not wanting to pay you. I don't blame them. If you can be fair with these borrowers of student loan debt, stop stealing their money, stop garnishing their paycheck, stop garnishing their IRS refunds at the end of the year unexpectedly. They never expect it coming. And it's very sad because a lot of people, when it comes to their IRS refund, they're going to put new tires on the car. They're not going to Mexico. They're saving that money. So when things go wrong in their family, and then all of a sudden they just don't get that tax refund that they were counting on. They can't put those tires on the car to keep their transportation for their children safe. Let me tell you something. If you have student loans, there are things that you can do. There are, but they're complicated. Call me. I want to help you. Call me, will you? 321-282-1055. There's more information on our website as well, youhavepower.com. I'm happy to help. I would never charge you a penny to come into my office. Let's talk through it, all right? Here's what we're going to do, Makaila. You learned a lot today. I know you did.
I'm surprised you can like breathe after all that, honestly.
I know. I apologize. I apologize. Sometimes I can't shut up, okay? I apologize
I'm
to
sure
you.
everyone knows.
But everyone wants to know what you learned today. We're going to take a quick break, the last one of the day. When we return, what did Makaila learn today? Do IRS threats have you spinning out of control? You are not helpless. At Attorneys Justin Clark & Associates, our goal is to lower or even eliminate your IRS debt. Call me today or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life. Does credit card debt have you spinning out of control? You are not helpless. At Attorneys Justin Clark & Associates, our goal is to lower or even eliminate your credit card debt. Call me today or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life. I hope you learned something today. Sorry about the monologue. I've been getting yelled at all break about it by this one, I guess.
It was very long.
But now it's time for what did Makaila learn today? Makaila, what did you learn?
I learned that you gave a very long monologue and that I should get solar panels on my house before it's too late. I didn't really know that was a thing. I thought when it's not bright outside, solar didn't work. Apparently that's not how
no,
it
absolutely
works.
incorrect. Solar is one of the best financial decisions I've ever made. Certainly when it comes to real estate, getting solar on my roof has been a fantastic thing. The electricity payments have gone down so much. But then when I saved money at the end of the day, I thought I was going to have to stroke a big check to the IRS. When I didn't have to, I was
feeling.
super, super happy. Excellent job today. As always, you're going to come back next week, I hope.
If you don't do another monologue.
I promise. No more monologues next week. But I don't know why you're being so hard on me. I'm trying to help. We're here to help, you know? Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again next week for more Behind the Mask.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement. The views expressed were the sole responsibility of the advertiser.